channel.
Welcome back to another episode of the May E 2025, and we're continuing on with the May event with our champion match. I have two champions I had to face off against. One of them was Legion, and the other one was this gentleman's champion right here.
Hello everyone. Yes, I am back, and yes, you are welcome. This is the Masked Debater.
Alright, so yes, we did a vote, and you guys decided his guy was better. And unfortunately, Dr. Mahan also lost against Legion as well, so I lost two champions. So now we have two current champions who are going to be facing on against two different characters. I brought a new one to compete against this gentleman's character. So let me explain the rules. We're going to make our arguments, and then afterwards, we're going to let you guys, the voters, decide on our YouTube channel in the comment section below to vote who you thought won the matchup. So without further ado, let us begin. In one corner, representing the Marvel Universe, or the Marvel Comics, whichever way you want to call it, is the Beyonder himself. His powers were so great, he had to be retconned because he was just too damn powerful. Galactus got swatted like a fly by the Beyonder. Just giving away a micro fraction of his power has the ability to blacken 10,000 suns. Take a moment to just sink that in, or absorb that. One time he controlled Earth and its entire structure, right on down to the viruses that exist on our planet. What? He sat in a chair and explored the multiverse layer by layer with his might. He visited the microverse where Ant-Man usually plays around, took a gander at Asgard, and even stopped by Mephisto's realm to take a peek. With a blank universe canvas, he can create everything that ever existed from his mind out of thin air. He can take on all the Celestials. He's too big for one timeline. He is omnipotent, and he has destroyed 7 billion dimensions. Representing on this corner DC Comics, the Bat Who Laughs. The Bat Who Laughs is one of the most terrifying and impactful villains to emerge from DC Comics in recent years, a twisted hybrid of Batman's intellect and the Joker's nihilistic satanism. His feats span across multiple major comic events, demonstrating his immense strategic prowess, deadly combat skills, and profound understanding of the DC multiverse. Here's a breakdown of his key accomplishments. Origin and early destructive feats. In Earth 22, killing his own Justice League. In his origin from Earth 22 or negative 22 of the Dark Multiverse, the Batman Who Laughs, formerly known as Bruce Wayne, was driven mad by a specialized Joker toxin released upon the Joker's death. He then systematically murdered his entire Bat family and most of his world's Justice League. This including infecting his own son, Damian Wayne, and turning him into a Robin, and using black kryptonite to make Superman and Supergirl take Lois Lane's life and then themselves. Conquering his Earth. After eliminating his heroes, he took complete control of negative Earth 22, transforming it into a twisted, chaotic reflection of his own madness. Dark Knight's Metal. Serving Barbados and invading Prime Earth. As the second in command to the Dark God Barbados, the Batman Who Laughs was instrumental in orchestrating the invasion of a main DC universe, Prime Earth, by the Dark Knights, a group of evil Batmen from the other dark multiverse worlds. Psychological warfare. He consistently outmaneuvered Batman and the Justice League, exploiting their deepest fears and weakness with his unique brand of psychological torture and understanding of their contingency plans. Recruiting Dark Knights. He was responsible for bringing the other Dark Knights, Red Death, Drowned Dawnbreaker, Merciless, Murder Machine, Devastator, the Prime Earth, leveraging their specific twisted powers against the Justice League, causing the multiverse's descent. His presence and action directly contributed to the multiverse descent into chaos and its vulnerability to Barbados. The Batman Who Laughs and year of the villain infecting major heroes. He orchestrated a plan to infect 6 prominent DC heroes, including Shazam, Blue Beetle, Donna Troy, and Jim Gordon, who a mutated Joker toxin turning them into one own twisted Secret Six. Later, the infected. This showcase is the ability to corrupt even the most steadfast heroes. Taking over Gotham, he effectively took control of Gotham, demonstrating his strategical mastery and ability to manipulate the city's criminal underground. Outsmarting Batman and Lex Luthor, he constantly stayed several steps ahead of Batman and even briefly outwitted Lex Luthor, who was empowered by Perpetua at the time. Dark Knight's death metal. Becoming Perpetua's lieutenant, he became the primary lieutenant of Perpetua, the mother of the multiverse, serving as the most trusted enforcer to her bid to reshape reality. Transforming Earth. Under his influence, Earth was reshaped into a nightmarish landscape filled with monstrous, twisted versions of familiar locations and heroes, gaining Dr. Manhattan's powers as the Darkest Knight. This is perhaps the most significant feat. After being seemingly killed by Wonder Woman, his brain was preserved and transplanted into Bruce Wayne, who gained the powers of Dr. Manhattan. This transformed him into the Darkest Knight, making him the nigh omnipotent and capable of reality warping on a cosmic scale. Remaking the multiverse. In the Darkest Knight, he briefly held the power to remake the entire multiverse in his own image, creating a twisted multiverse death, before being ultimately defeated by Wonder Woman, who had absorbed the power of the multiverse itself. Creating a Robin King. The Bat Who Laughs feats are consistently characterized by his own unparalleled cunning, his mastery of fear and psychological manipulation, and his willingness to commit unspeakable acts of violence and torture. He represents Batman's greatest nightmare, the Cape Crusader's intelligence and resourcefulness, completely untethered from morality and twisted by the Joker's madness.
So here are my arguments of why the Beyonder would be easy to defeat the Batman Who Laughs. For starters, the absolute power scale. The Beyonder's powers was stated to be millions of times greater than the entire Marvel multiverse combined. The Dark Knight, while a multi-universal threat, operates within the confines of a single multiverse, which the Beyonder could easily destroy. Next, let's talk about the fundamental reality control. The Beyonder could effortlessly erase the Dark Knight from existence, manipulating his powers or prevent them from forever manifesting. The Dark Knight reality warping into constrained by the rules the Beyonder can simply rewrite. And the next thing we can talk about is the lack of weakness. The Beyonder, an abstract being, is immune to the psychological manipulation and exploitation of vulnerabilities that the Darkest Knight excels at. The Beyonder's methods of victory include will the Dark Knight instant erasure, will the Darkest Knight out of existence on a molecular and conceptual level. Reality rewriting. Reshape reality to nullify the Dark Knight's powers or trap him in a thought-based dimension. Next argument is power nullification. Simply remove Dr. Manhattan's powers from the Dark Knight. Conceptual imprisonment. Trap him in a conceptual cage where even thoughts is impossible. And that is just the very few many things that they have, that the Beyonder has, that are beyond its capabilities. Here are a list of other things. Still greater raw power, direct combat power, immunity to infection, overwhelming energy barrier, temporal manipulation, environmental destruction, and conceal origin true form.
Okay, so here's the Bat Who Laughs endgame, or my argument. He's very smart, a feat that gets underestimated most of the time as it helps form strategies and find weaknesses. Beyonder doesn't really have many to exploit, obviously, which is why this list is going to be a tad bit short. One idea is Bat Who Laughs creates a reality where Beyonder's powers and be duplicated or harnessed. Now he can change that reality back or into something else. Sure, that's true. Which is why this is going to have to be a applying pressure situation. What do I mean by that? Well, the only way to keep Beyonder from doing anything to have constant distractions, and given Bat's brain on this level's distractions are doable. Summon heroes and villains from both worlds to come from all angles, move the fight to another realm, and immediately switch the landscape to creating something that requires focus to reshape. Time travel to a time when Beyonder was being defeated in the comics, and when he's weakened enough to lay the hammer down. Conjure weapons out of thin air that would cause cosmic level threats, and use that to apply pressure, and when he gets rid of it eventually, create another cosmic weapon. Trick Beyonder into thinking he wouldn't have a chance if his powers were lowered. If Beyonder feels confident enough, he might decrease his power to even the odds, in which case Bat Who Laughs would have a good chance of thinking quickly on how to end him before he rethinks his decision. Enter the version of the comics where Beyonder was still powerful but gives his cosmic powers a fighting chance. Create a multiverse virus. Now, hear me out. You might think, what? But it actually makes sense. If there's anyone who can create such a virus, is Batman on the cosmic level of the Joker's evil genius. Before battling it out with the Beyonder, maybe he stops by the other Marvel gang and takes them out, eventually gathering more powers to use, such as the Infinity Gauntlet and the Phoenix Force. Gaining that power or weaponry could do some serious damage to the Beyonder, without question, giving the Bat Who Laughs a good chance at winning this one. And we're back, guys. Alright, so we already made our case. Now it's up to you guys to decide which champion made the most compelling argument. So if you liked my argument, you know what you could do? You can hashtag the Bat Who Laughs. And if you like my boy's argument, you know what you can do?
You can go beyond it and go for hashtag Beyonder.
All right, and as always, No Prince fan, we really appreciate you guys keeping it 800 subs. Peace.
Signing off. Stay classy, comic book world.
Yeah. And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy our content, you know what you guys can do. You can share, you can like, or you can subscribe to our channel. When you guys subscribe to our channel, you know what you do? You guys are building our empire and allowing us to provide you guys with even much more greater content for you guys to enjoy. Shout out to all my content supporters. Not working together, but we like to give credit where credit is due. Ivan the Unstoppable for all the knowledge of comic beats, Watch Mojo for origins and for all the background videos, Comic Historian, Comics Explained, and key issues. Go ahead and check them out and tap into the world of comics by supporting other creators. Link to channels will be in the description below.